Hey guys, it's great to be with you today. I'm so excited to touch base again in Sunday school here with the kids ministry at First United Methodist. Today I wanted to talk about Jesus, obviously, and I wanted to talk about how after he died on the cross, that kind of flipped everything upside down. And so he died on the cross, rose 3 days later, and that changed how humanity viewed God. It changed how we were able to interact with God, and it just changed how we were able to do life. And so today I want to talk about how when Jesus flipped everything upside down, he flipped it upside down, some of it with humility. So humility is putting others first by giving up what you think you deserve, okay? And so I think now is a great time to practice humility while you're quarantined with your family. It's easy to want to do your thing and do what you want and be who you want and act how you want and eat what you want. I want to be the one in control, whatever. I don't want to give up control. I don't want to do what other people want to do. I want to do what I want to do. Well, today and every day we have chances to show humility, which is to give up what we want and think of others first. And we get to show humility to those around us. So maybe that's letting someone go in line ahead of you. Maybe that's not fighting what y'all are eating for supper. Maybe that's cleaning up because you know that your mom just needs a chill day. Or it's letting your brother or sister pick the game that you're playing at family game night. And so humility can look different for different seasons of life. It can look different in school versus at home, with friends, at a sleepover. There's all sorts of places that you can show humility. And so I wanted to talk about in the Bible, this guy named Paul. So he was an apostle and he wrote about humility to the Philippians. And so he wrote because he was actually in jail and he still wasn't even thinking about himself. He was trying to spread God's word and he wanted people to get to know God and get to be with God. And so in Philippians, he said, don't do anything only to get ahead. Instead, be humble. Value others more than yourselves. As you deal with one another, you should think and act as Jesus did. Jesus was equal with God, but he didn't take advantage of that fact. He made himself nothing instead. He did this by taking on the nature of a servant. He appeared as a man. He was humble and obeyed God completely, and he did this even though it led to his death. And so those are really wise words, and notice that Paul went back to Jesus' example when he was telling people how to be humble. And so really, when we are trying to figure out how to be humble or how we should act, we need to think back and look back on examples in the Bible and examples that Jesus did, because he is the perfect example of how to love God, and he was able to flip things upside down so that maybe it wasn't so much about rules, but it was about getting to love God, and he took out that sin so that we could be in relationship with God. And he was thinking of us and not thinking of himself when he chose to die on the cross, because nobody would want to just die on the cross, because that would really hurt and it wouldn't be fun. And I don't know, he flipped the script on that one because he chose us over himself. And so that's a huge example of humility. And so I think I just want to encourage you guys today that I wanted to remind you that Jesus flipped things upside down, and that means that we don't always do the things that we want to do first, or we don't just pick what we want to do, or we don't do what's best for us. We think about the group, and we think about others, and we think about our family or our siblings, and we think about their feelings and their wants and what hurts their feelings or what makes them happy, and we don't just think about ourselves, because it's really easy to just think about ourselves, and in life a lot of times people just want to think about themselves. But when Jesus died on the cross, he showed us the greatest example of he thought about us, and so we need to think about others. And so he flipped everything upside down, almost like if you're walking on your hands. Can anybody walk on your hands? I can't walk on my hands. I don't have enough strength. Or maybe that's like painting with your feet. So you're holding stuff with your feet and trying to write or paint. There's all sorts of things that are kind of whack, that if you were out in public and you saw somebody writing, then they're writing something with their foot, you'd be like, what's going on? That's kind of upside down. But that's what happened when Jesus came. He flipped everything upside down. The way that people thought that they had to interact with God was completely different than how God wanted to react with them. He wanted them to just come to him in love and choose to be with him and choose to love him and choose to love others. And by Jesus dying on the cross, it leveled out our sin so that we could come to God and so that we could have that relationship with him. And so this week, humility, remember, is putting others first by giving up what you think you deserve. So this week, you're in quarantine and social distancing, like it's the perfect time to practice humility because you're with people who love you. You're with your family. And so if you mess up, guess what? They love you and they're still gonna love you. But it gives you a great place to practice so that the next time you see your friends, you can practice humility with them. And it becomes more about what y'all can do together and not what you can get and what's best for you. And so this week, I want to maybe see some pictures or videos of you walking on your hands or painting with your feet. And I'd really love to know where's a place in your life that you've been humble. So where is a time that you gave up what you wanted so that others around you could be happy, or they could have what they wanted, or maybe you just didn't eat the last candy bar from Easter. And that's being humble too because you let somebody else have it. So I'm interested to see what ways you guys chose to be humble this week and follow the direction of Jesus, because he was humble first. And when we say that we love Jesus, that means we're desiring to be like him. And so why not try to be humble just like Jesus was humble? I hope you guys have a great week, and I'm looking forward to when we can all be back together again. And I really want to see those pictures. I'll try to walk on my hands and get my roommate to video it or something like that, but I probably won't succeed. Don't get your hopes up. Anyway, all right, have a good week, guys, and I'll catch you next week, and we can continue to talk about how Jesus flipped everything upside down. All right, bye.